Space Jam 2 Electric Boogaloo is directed by my left nut and written by my right one. And yes, I'm driving right now and recording this review because I'm stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic, and I did not expect that, and I'm pressed for time. So I figured why not go ahead and knock out my Space Jam 2 review. So the reason why I saw and am reviewing Space Jam 2 Electric Boogaloo is because, well, it's really for two reasons. One, I grew up with Space Jam, and my curiosity basically killed me this time around, because it is a film that a lot of people are seeing and a lot of people are talking about. So I grew up with it. It has a special place in my heart, and I kind of just want to have my own opinion on it, even though I pretty much knew that it was going to be an awful film. And another reason is because I pay for HBO Max, and I figured I might as well get my money's worth and check out the most recent film that, again, a lot of people are talking about and have some, pretty strong opinions about. And let me start off by saying this about Space Jam. Space Jam, even though, as I said, has a lot of nostalgic value for me and does have a special place in my heart, it's a bad movie. Like, I wouldn't go as far as to say it's like utterly terrible, but it's not a good movie. For a lot of obvious reasons. It's basically just a huge cash grab that basically forced parents to take money out of their pockets and pay their local theater to go bring their kids to watch it. So, but when you're a kid and you're watching Space Jam, none of the flaws of the film ever are apparent to you, because you basically see Michael Jordan and Bugs Bunny merge into one film, and you basically go blind after that. It basically gives you everything that, a 90s kid would want out of a film. And so it's crazy because I watched Space Jam 2, and then after I watched Space Jam 2, I watched the first Space Jam just to kind of compare and see which one was genuinely worse. And honestly, Space Jam 2 makes Space Jam look like an actual good film. And that's saying a lot, because as I said, Space Jam is not a good movie. Honestly, not even close. But it does make it seem like a good movie. Space Jam 2 Electric Boogaloo is a pretty awful film. It's pretty terrible. And obviously you clicked on this video because you thought I was going to trash it. And I am going to trash it. I'm not going to pussyfoot around that or anything, but I will say it's not like the worst thing in the world. Like, even though it is an awful film, and it is pretty terrible, it's not the worst thing ever. I honestly would rather see Space Jam 2 4 times before I ever go back and watch The Curse of La Llorona ever again. So there's definitely worse films out there, but that doesn't mean this film is even slightly good. I mean, Space Jam 2 is absolutely terrible. And honestly, I don't even know really where to begin. But I guess I'll start off by saying that this film, basically, instead of deciding to make a genuinely good movie, they knew that the vast majority of people that are going to be watching this film and are actually excited to watch it are the 90s kids. All the kids that grew up with Space Jam. And instead of making a good movie, they said, why don't we just constantly pander to their nostalgia? I mean, in the first 2 or 3 minutes of this film, they throw in your face a Game Boy multiple times, and you could tell that was kind of setting the tone of what the rest of this film was going to do, because this film is just, I mean, there's an entire segment that feels like 20 minutes of just endless references, most of them to 90s films like The Matrix and Austin Powers, and I grew up with that shit. I love Austin Powers, but it just felt so shameless and hollow, and kind of felt really disrespectful, as if oh, as long as we keep shitting out these references and pandering to this age group, then they'll love the film. But obviously not for me. But apparently I'm in the minority, because according to the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, apparently a lot of people really like this film, and I guess that was enough. I guess a lot of shameless pandering to their nostalgia was satisfying for them to have a good movie experience. And I guess maybe they found a lot of it funny and charming, but not me. I mean, it has its funny moments here and there, like maybe 2 or 3, like, you know, genuinely funny moments, but that's about it. And it's not worth the runtime either, because this film is basically 2 hours long. This is a film that's basically 2 hours long. And literally at the halfway point is when the actual basketball game starts. So literally half of this film is the basketball game. It's basically like the third act starts in the middle of the film. And it is drawn out way too long. I mean, this film is already 2 hours too long because it doesn't need to exist. But, you know, if I'm trying to be reasonable, it's definitely like 30 minutes too long. And I think it's also one thing that the original Space Jam has over this, is that, one, it at least knows when to start and when to end. It never overstays its welcome. The first Space Jam is, I think, is like an hour and 20 minutes and maybe some change. For the vast majority of the basketball match, I was incredibly bored. There's maybe like only a few moments that are like mildly entertaining, but the majority, honestly, was just getting really boring. I already didn't care about anything up to that point, but I really was tempted to kind of just shut it off and not finish it. But since I figured some of my subscribers and some of my viewers might be entertained by me watching it and reviewing it, maybe I'll finish it, and I did. But yeah, Don Cheadle is in this film, and he plays the villain. And, you know, I'd say he phones in maybe half of his performance, and the other half, it feels like he's genuinely trying to embody some kind of character. Because honestly, most of the funny moments that are in this film, which, you know, aren't that many of them, kind of come from his character and his overall dialogue delivery and just the kind of character he's playing. But honestly, like, I would love to see Jim Carrey in that role and like fully going all the way with it and embodying that character. I could see that being a hell of a lot more entertaining. And LeBron James in this film, obviously, he's terrible. You know, he gives a pretty poor performance, but, you know, I'm not even going to dog on LeBron James like that, because, I mean, he's a basketball player, he's not an actor, and he probably thought this was going to be a lot of fun, and I'm pretty sure he did have a lot of fun making this, and, you know, it's a fat paycheck. You know, why wouldn't he accept this offer to do this? So, you know, I'm not going to throw really any shade at LeBron James. This is really the producer's fault of putting somebody who's obviously a non-actor. You know, the same Space Jam had the same problem. Michael Jordan was pretty much awful in that film, but again, don't really blame him. Same here. I'm not going to spend time really ranting about how horrible LeBron James was, because you know, that's kind of beyond the point, and is honestly not really even close as to the reason why I thought this film was horrible. But yeah, and the story is incredibly cliche too. And, you know, I guess I'll give it a little bit of props, because it is trying to, you know, say something that is meaningful, even though this film comes off extremely hollow. Because it is trying to convey a message of, you know, it is kind of a life lesson for, you know, parents who are trying to force their children down a certain path, but, you know, they don't really have any consideration for what the kid wants and what their passion is. And, you know, the parent kind of learns a lesson in this film, and, you know, that's fine. At least to try to do something meaningful, even though, again, it comes off incredibly, you know, bare bones and hollow throughout the entire film. But yeah, ultimately, where I think this film ends up just being terrible is because I feel like the vast majority of this film is just, you know, pandering to people of my generation, you know, the 90s kids. And I don't want to really hear the excuse that, you know, this is a kid's movie and it's made for kids, and that's why it's, you know, so cheesy and unfunny and corny and all that. I mean, sure, maybe some of it is marketed towards kids, but they know that the people that are most excited to see this film are going to be my age. So they basically, again, they had a decision to make. They could have tried to be a genuinely good film for all the kids that grew up during the era and now realize that Space Jam really isn't that good of a film. But instead they decided to, let's just pander to their nostalgia, and hopefully that does it. And apparently it did, because most people actually enjoyed the film. And obviously I am not one of those people, so I'm going to give Space Jam 2 Electric Boogaloo a strong 2 out of 10. Yeah, obviously Space Jam is a lot better than this film. I mean, at least Space Jam, you have Bill Murray that comes in and out of the film, and he's basically gold every time that he's in the film. You have the fat guy from Jurassic Park. I'm so sorry I don't know his name off the top of my head, but at least he's in Space Jam, and you have that epic moment with him inflating into like this giant balloon. Like, that is brilliance. Like, you don't get anything like that in Space Jam 2. And in the first Space Jam, you also have the Monstars, and you have Danny DeVito voicing one of the aliens. So Space Jam, I feel like, offers a lot more. It isn't nearly as much of an annoying experience as Space Jam 2 was, but that's all I got to say about Space Jam 2. If you really enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and share it amongst your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to be updated on more film-related content.